a bit of a handful, folks, I'm not gonna lie. Right folks, so it's an exciting day today because we're doing part 5 of the Caddy RS build where we take the thing on its first drive on some country roads. I know this video has been a bit overdue, but if you've been keeping up to date on Instagram on the last update video I did, we finally have moved into a new unit for the channel. I've wanted a space like this for a few years now. It just allows me to sort of elevate the content on the channel, get better shots. We're out of the rain and the darkness, and crucially also, we now have a 2-post lift. Now for those of you who work on your cars, you'll know how invaluable this single piece of equipment is. It makes life so much easier. You can do certain jobs that you couldn't do on the floor. Yes, I've enjoyed working on the quick jacks, which I've had for a couple of years now, but this was definitely new to basically take the channel to the next level. Now moving over to the van itself, as you will have last seen, it was up at DDG Developments. For the most part, the full conversion is pretty much done. I need to put some miles on it though. I haven't actually driven it myself. It was Dawood who test drove it at the end of the last installment. I wanted to save my impressions for today. Now thankfully where I've moved with this unit, the country roads are pretty much on my doorstep, so I haven't got to worry about driving it out 30 minutes and just in case some clip falls off or some glitch happens. You never know ultimately with a custom project like this. Now we will send the van up in a second. I've already gone ahead and done some checks like the oil, the coolant, and I also changed out the spark plugs, which you may remember were still the old ones when we did the TTRS inspection video. Right, then let's send it up. I'll show you how much clearance it has. I was first quite worried about that beam up there, but that's on full extension and then back down the locks. So even if you did go up a bit higher, there's still miles of space. You could sit on that thing. Right, so here we are underneath the Caddy. Got the trusty light out. So what I noticed when I was up in the air yesterday is that this brake line was pretty much touching the tire. Now you may be thinking, well, that's not too bad because you can fit your hand in there. But I'll throw up a clip on the screen now of what it was before. Now I have semi-gotten around it by test fitting a spacer, which I believe is a 10mm one. The guys next door, Automotive Addiction, had some on the shelf, so I thought I'd give it a go. It may be the case I will have to sell these wheels. They are quite nice and they do match the van, but I do have a set of RS3 8V saloon wheels, which are an 8.5 up front and an 8 at the back. They're the staggered versions, and they should be far less aggressive than a 9J. The offsets are similar, but the width is the issue at the minute. But I think for the drive, I don't fancy any brake lines having any problems. So we'll chuck these on the back. It's not ideal, but these are the Mark 8R wheels, which have fresh tires on them. We're all going to be going around the block anyway, so they actually look pretty good. I mean, they're an 18 inch as opposed to a 19. That's a 225 40/18 tire. This, I believe, is a 255 35. Pretty chunky. Okay, so some way off, you can fit 2 hands in between that. So that shouldn't make contact when we're driving. Right, let's get the van down, torque the wheels up, and take it for a drive. Right then folks, now before we go ahead and have some fun in the Caddy, there's just a couple of things I wanted to mention as per usual. Number one, if you are new to this channel and you do enjoy the content on here, make sure you do go ahead and subscribe. As I've mentioned, I'm trying to level up things this year, such as getting this new unit. I've also got a bunch of projects in the pipeline, so yeah, it'd be great to have you on board. And number two, I just want to give a massive thanks to our familiar channel sponsors, Car Vertical. Now, if you're not already familiar with Car Vertical, essentially it's a website that allows you to obtain a full report on any car. All you gotta do is enter registration or the VIN of the vehicle in question. And to show you how all of this works, I'm gonna go ahead and throw up a report on a Mark 7R. Now at the top here, essentially it's a snapshot of the vehicle you searched for. So in the case of this Mark 7R, there's no issues with any mileage fraud. It's never been stolen in the past. It doesn't have any outstanding finance, but unfortunately it has been accident damage previously. So it says in November 2019, it was a category S write-off, which is structural damage. However, the best bit is we can actually see the extent of what happened by going to the photo section. Now these are directly from the salvage auction, as you can see, it's a pretty extensive knock at the front. Airbags went off. It seems also the side has taken a bit of an impact, so it'd be good to look underneath. The rear doesn't seem too bad, but at least if you're going to view this car, whether you're bothered by the damage or not, at least you know what to look for and check if it's been repaired correctly. So yeah, that's Car Vertical in a nutshell. Nice and easy to use. I would definitely save some hassle down the line. Now I have got my own little incentive for you folks. If you click the link in my description and then use the code TRH, it'll save you 10% off your next report. But as always, big thanks to Car Vertical for supporting the channel. Let's crack on with this Caddy drive. Just realised this is the first time I've ever driven this thing properly, because I never drove it when it was a TDI, because the engine was supposedly blown at that point and then we found out it wasn't. But yeah, we're pretty much ready. GoPros are all on. Oil temp looks all good. Nice and empty roads. Here we are in the Caddy RS on the roads with very bent steering. Yes, I do need an alignment for sure. It's putting off like that. I haven't bothered to get it done because I've got a ton of handling parts to go on. Maybe in the next part or two. Give it some here. That's quite quick. Right, national speed limit. All attempts are good. This makes no sense. That's torque steer. Quite violent. Yep, we're rubbing. It's quite a bit of a handful, folks, I'm not gonna lie. Luckily it's quiet enough that it doesn't disrupt these sheep. The EDG development certainly smashed it with this. We literally drive around. Oh dear, I think a jack fell in the back. I'm not used to having a van. I know my gear shifts look atrocious, but I can't actually feel third that well. Second. It feels like a GTI, it's not far off. Quick indeed. Second. See, front wheel drive is nippy. Oh dearie me. Yeah, something's rattling. Hope it hasn't blown up. Okie doke, let's head back and have a look. Project car life, eh folks? Project car life. Okay, let's just turn it on. Not sure, folks. Right, so it's actually the next day now. I've switched to the GoPro head cam. I thought I'd give this a second go. The reason I say that is this ticking noise. I realised last night when I went home that I actually experienced it in the TTRS when I first bought it, when I drove it back from auction. I thought it was just in my head at the time. Maybe I was just being a bit paranoid, but it definitely rings a bell. And I remember it did go away because it never reappeared throughout this whole process when we did the conversion. And now that I've turned it on the next day and basically given it a few revs, we'll do it now. It's just smooth. So I don't know if there's something with this engine when it gets warm that it just doesn't like it, because that sounds perfect to me. Ultimately, if any of you guys have got a SEPA or a CZGB and you've experienced anything like that, let me know. But yeah, let's have a bit of fun in point of view and see if anything comes back. Weird rev matching in this thing. You're literally in a van that's supposed to be a diesel. I did read it could be the vacuum pump as well, which apparently when it fails you have no brakes, so I don't fancy that happening. Good turning circle. We've got the TTRS rack. It needs to be coded in though. That's where you're seeing the steering lights. Dowd was telling me I'm going to need a Scirocco module potentially. This is a fast van. Go for it again. Right, I'm happy with that. The van drives. There may be a rattle, but we'll need to look into it. It's not affecting its performance, and it's definitely not rod knock. So I'm glad we filmed this second bit. I mean, I know it's not ideal that it's even there in the first place, but let's get the van fully dialed in and then we'll make a judgment call. Mark 8R's over there. Don't know if you guys saw, but it was on CarWow like yesterday. Let's give it a few revs. You can hear it. Right, so just as I was saying the van is fine, I've now got a completely different issue. This all just happened in the last 5 minutes. So I was basically parked here. I was going to get the shutter open to take it into the unit, and I heard like a hissing noise and then a ton of smoke. It basically just dumped all its coolant on the floor. Thankfully it wasn't a fuel line or anything of the sort. Close the door there. Yep, all coolant. Now I have found the culprit. It's this line over here, and it's just basically dropped off, dumping everything on the floor. I suppose the whole point of this drive is to see if there's any clips or bits that will come off, being a project van. But I'm glad it was just coolant. We can sort that and get it inside. At least we can say it was an eventful first drive. It was quite a bit of fun on them back roads. But yeah, if you did enjoy it, drop a like on the video. Subscribe if you are new here. The cool thing about this whole situation is that I've literally just drove the van straight back onto a 2-post lift, and we could work on it in our own time. But yeah, I'll stop talking now, and I'll see you in a few days' time.